Yeah. Hey guys, and Salam, welcome to Raz YouTubes. You know, recently I've been really reflecting. I eat a lot of meat. A lot. I mean, all you have to do is just go onto my Instagram page and type in Raz Food Chronicles. It's a vegetarian's nightmare, to put it bluntly. And so as part of a charity project called #GiveItUp, which I'll tell you more about below, I essentially decided to give up meat for a week. Now trust me, for me, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Why? Because sometimes I would have meat twice in a day, or sometimes even twice in a meal. Like, how's that even possible? Like, 2 different types of meat in one meal. I mean, it's a bit ridiculous, really, to be thinking, what? So I was vegetarian for a whole week. Yeah, initially it was a little tough. But you know, as time goes on, you sort of learn a lot from that. You learn a lot from becoming a vegetarian for a week. Now, don't get me wrong, I am all for meat. I love meat, but I think there needs to be a balance. I think there needs to be some sort of introspection, and this is what I learned from my week of being a vegetarian. Number 1, we consume way too much meat. I mean, gosh, you know, meat consumption has quadrupled since 1960. 1960, quadrupled in like 5-6 decades. It's quadrupled as a global society. Damn. I mean, think about it. Think about any party that you've been to, or every time you've gone out. Always, you're going to order meat. You know, if you order salad, you're like, what the heck? Why am I going out with a rabbit? Right? No one orders a salad. And if you think about it, go to a wedding. If you don't have something with lamb or chicken, then you're basically pretty much been insulted, right? I mean, where is the meat, bruh? And the problem is there is so many health problems associated with overconsumption of meat. Obesity, cardiac disease, constipation, cancer, diabetes. Really, the list is endless. Our beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he only had meat on rare occasions. It was certainly not a daily thing, and there were times where there would be no smoke coming from his chimney, which means that there would be no meat being cooked, right? So it was very much dry, basic food. Sometimes he'd live on just dates. And that got me thinking. Number 2, animal rights. Now, I have to owe this point to my good friend Qasim. He is one of my close friends, and he became vegetarian and became a vegan for a while. And trust me, we laughed. We laughed a lot at the guy. But he had principles, and that actually got me thinking. I mean, if you see the videos of the way the animals are treated in farms, you know, the things that leak out, and the way that they're treated in slaughterhouses, it really is heartbreaking. And I mean, come on, we are the progeny of a man who found a cat sleeping on his coat and didn't want to disturb it, so rather than disturbing the cat, he cut the sleeve off his coat where the cat was sleeping on, just so he would not wake up the cat. There is respect there. There is respect. Everything has a place in the food chain, but even if you do it, it does not give you a right to disrespect. Animal rights is a big thing. I mean, do we think about the meat that we eat? Now, we're meant to eat food which is halal, right? As Muslims anyway. Or food that's ethical. If you're not a Muslim, then you gotta eat food which you think is at least ethical. We should be. That should be part of our thought process. But how often do we think about it? Just because something has a label of it's approved by the FDA, or approved by a food health authority, or approved for halal slaughter, whatever it is, does that really make it halal? Does it really make it legit? Do you know what battery farming is? It's when animals are put together in cages and they just peck the heck out of each other until they basically, their tissue becomes scarred, and they basically have no freedom to move or eat or do whatever they want to do. Do you know how many hormones are pumped into these animals to eat what we're eating? Part of our meat consumption, we really have to start considering this sort of thing. I know it's not easy because these things are expensive, but the reason they're expensive is because they're not that common, and rare commodities do have a price tag. So perhaps this is a step forward towards us actually creating some sort of awareness. You know, free range, organic. I believe it takes like 15,000 liters of water to create 1 kilogram of beef. 15,000 liters of water. Where is the energy efficiency? What are we doing about that? Part of meat consumption should involve us having some sort of ownership over energy efficiency. We gotta do something about that. Number 3, do we think about what we eat? It was weird, I don't know how to put it, but when I was vegetarian, it felt like I was actually fasting. I was pretty much hungry for a week. Yeah, because, you know, greens don't really count. But it made me think, like, when I was eating meat, I didn't really think about what I eat. I don't really think about it in detail. But perhaps we should. We should really be reflecting. We should be trying to improve our diets, because it really impacts on everything in our lives. Something might be okay to eat, but is it pure? I mean, we should be eating stuff which is pure, right? Not just permissible or okay to eat for human consumption. It's got to be pure. Do we think about that? I just thought the idea of me not thinking about what I eat was actually kind of staggering. Like, why do we eat stuff but we don't even think about what we're eating? That's so weird. That's so weird. Number 4, have you heard the phrase "you are what you eat"? I believe this phrase first came from a gentleman known as Anselm Brillat-Savarin. And this guy, he said, "Dis-moi ce que tu manges, je te dirai ce que tu es." Which means, tell me what you eat and I will tell you what you are. Essentially, you are what you eat. God, I wish I was a big fat piece of steak. Yeah. But I think essentially what that means is that everything that you eat, whether it's pure or not, whatever it is, it kind of becomes you, right? If you eat food which basically takes away your energy, makes you fat, obese, and just a lazy piece of slab, then that is what you're going to be, because that's what you're eating. And perhaps on the other side, if you're eating stuff which is good for you, which is good for your health, perhaps it has a positive effect. You know, there are some foods which definitely increase certain hormonal levels that actually make you feel happier, make you feel better, and more energetic, more happier. Perhaps that's going to impact how we are in our families, in our day-to-day relationships, in our lives. So you are what you eat. Number 5, it is very difficult being a vegetarian in our communities. There's a lot of misinterpretation. A lot of people think people are doing it for the wrong reasons. I'm still thinking it through. I think there are some reasons which, you know, if you're just basically saying that the blessings of God are not allowed, you know, I don't personally agree with that. But if you're doing it for animal rights reasons, if you're doing it to create awareness, I completely dig that. I completely understand. But people are mean if you're a vegetarian, man. They're really mean. I mean, I used to be a monster. I used to be quite mean to people who became vegetarian in my community and in my social circle. And now when you're on the receiving end, it's quite horrible, man. I mean, the things people would tweet me. And on that note, you know, not only should we be supportive and trying to have dialogue and have discussion about why people are doing things, but it'd be good to have more vegetarian options when you go out and about. Good vegan options that are not too expensive. As an Asian, you're lucky because there's loads of options. Like, honestly, I think Indian and Pakistani food has some of the best vegetarian food in the world, right up there with Chinese. But I'm sure every cuisine does. But you don't see much of it. You know, we live in a fast food world with just processed meat and everything, and I would like to see more vegetarian options going out. Not that I would have it, you know, but, you know, just I know the struggle now. Look, I've been vegetarian for a week. That's nothing. I can't even claim to know the struggles. I can't even claim to know the moral, ethical issues. But it was a starting point for me. And I did learn. And I hope to take it forward. I don't know how. But for one thing, I'm definitely going to limit my meat intake. And let's see how that goes. So you guys should join me. Honestly, you know, where possible. I need a minute. Anyways, guys, until next time, keep watching Raz YouTubes. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you eat a limited amount of meat. Take care. Salam.